Hi, I'm Cheryl Jackson. Welcome to Your Voice. Every school year, parents pray their children get a good teacher. And research shows parents are right. The latest studies say the quality of teacher is the dominant factor in how successful children will be in school. It's more important than money, family circumstances, or cultural backgrounds. Even in the so-called best schools, there are different outcomes in each class, and that's largely due to the teacher. Experts say poor teaching isn't just a nuisance, it's actually detrimental to your child's learning. So what makes a teacher great? Where does this greatness come from? Is it innate or is it learned? And how do parents know if the teacher is great or not? I'm joined by three experts who can help us answer these questions. Cindy Carnick-Davison teaches grade 4 and 5 at Regent Heights Public School. She was last year's winner of the Ontario Teachers Federation Award for Elementary School Teachers. Mary Coy was a teacher for many years. Then she went back to school for her PhD and is now the head of the Centre for Teacher Education and Development at the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education. And joining us via webcam from his home in Derby, England, is Richard Gerver. He won the British National Teaching Award in 2005 after taking his primary school from the brink of closure to one of the most innovative schools in the world. He's also the author of Creating Tomorrow's Schools Today. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for coming into studio. Thank you, Richard, for joining us again.
My pleasure.
Let's get right to it. What makes a teacher great? Cindy.
I think a tremendous element of care, the desire to, well, I use an expression called see their hearts sing. And that's for them to discover the joy in learning, but especially the joy in themselves.
Okay. Mary? What makes a teacher great?
For me, I think a teacher becomes great when she makes her first task in getting to know her students. I call it a getting to know you session. Understanding who they are, where they're from, what kinds of interests they have, what kinds of contributions they can have to the classroom. So it's knowing your students extremely well, knowing your subject areas very well, being a knowledgeable person around your specialty or the other subject you have to teach. People like Cindy teach many subjects. And I think that she's a passionate learner herself. That starts with getting to know her students. It starts with the kind of lifelong learning around her specialty, but it also ends with or continues with her lifelong professional learning. Whether it's with colleagues in the school collaboratively or with other peers, it never stops. I see them when they come to me as graduate students, but they've been on this journey in many other ways as well. So I think those are three key kind of variables.
Okay, Richard, what would you say? What makes a great teacher?
I would agree with both Mary and Cindy. The word that keeps coming through to me and always has really is empathy. For me, great teachers truly understand what makes their students tick. They're incredibly natural and confident around them. That's another trait, I think, of a truly great teacher. They're confident enough to be themselves. They're truly confident enough to be themselves with their kids, with their students, because let's face it, we all know that our children aren't stupid. They pick up on the vibe of how any of us are around them. And I think that ability to be relaxed, self-confident, self-assured, and for children to truly get the fact that you care about them, you're passionate about them, and you want to help them develop, it is absolutely core to any great teacher.
Mary, you teach teachers. Can you tell which ones will excel?
That's a really good question. I've thought quite a bit about it. I think that you can tell in pre-service. So this is the teacher education program, because I teach in both programs. You can really tell when someone has a heart for teaching. And I think it makes an enormous difference in the long run. We can't make great teachers. Great teachers become great. They start with something. There's a spark, a fire, an openness, a flexibility, an eagerness to make a difference. That's there, and you can tell that if this fire is stoked, and if it's developed, then indeed I expect some of those people will become great teachers. In graduate school, it's much easier to tell. Some of them have been teaching for 20 years, some of them for 5 years, many of them actually for more than 10 years. So they've had an opportunity to hone their art. And I liked Richard's comment that caring makes all the difference. When I asked a number of students, so what made your great teachers great? And they talk about people who listen, people who care, people who make hold a very high standard to my learning, people who take an interest in my life beyond the classroom, people who have expectations that expect me to succeed, are key. So it's but much easier to tell. When they tell their stories, these teachers in my graduate classes, of what kinds of things they do with their students, it's also very good. I model probably similar things in both programs, but I model it's understood differently with somebody who's been in the classroom for a number of years than somebody who's anticipating going into a classroom.
Sure. Okay, now Cindy, there are great teachers all over the world, despite